The Dravani king was dying. His greatest physicians had given him 2 days to live. They summoned a Terran surgeon as a final act of desperation. Dr. Maria Varma walked through the palace halls, her face calm, her case heavy with instruments. Inside the bedchamber, the king lay on a raised bed, his forearms limp, his breathing shallow.
2 more days. This is what my reign comes to. A silent fading.
You bring a Terran surgeon into the king's chamber? This is an insult to Dravani medicine.
Stand aside. I need to scan him. There, a calcified mass on the third aortic arch. It's blocking blood flow. I've seen this before.
You cannot see inside a living body. You speak heresy. The body must never be broken.
If I don't open his chest and remove it, he dies. I can save him. Let me operate.
Open his body, you would desecrate a living soul. This is forbidden by 1,000 years of doctrine. The body must be preserved whole at death. To cut it is to destroy the soul's passage. Hers is a barbaric ritual.
It's not a ritual. It's a surgery. I make a small incision, remove the blockage, and close. My people do this every day.
Enough. Every breath is a knife. If she can give me another month to settle my succession, I will let her cut.
Your Majesty, please, the priests will condemn this. History will remember the day the sacred body was defiled.
The king turned his heavy eyes to Maria and gave a single slow nod. Varric's protest died in his throat. Maria opened her case. A scalpel, retractors, a laser cautery pen, instruments of healing, not defilement.
This alien madness. She will kill him, and the empire will crack. And I will be remembered as the high physician who allowed it.
Nurse, monitor his vitals. If the pressure drops, tell me. I'll be in the zone before you blink.
The operating theater fell silent. For the first time in Dravani history, a living king would be cut to be saved. Maria pulled on her surgical mask and stepped to the table, her eyes dark and unwavering, fixed on the marked incision point.
Scalpel?
The scalpel touched the king's blue-gray skin, and a thin line of dark blood welled along the blade's edge.
No, you cannot. The sacred seal must never be broken. Stop this desecration.
The blade sank deeper, parting the skin with precision. A trickle of dark fluid ran down the king's chest. In the observation room, High Physician Varric pressed both hands against the transparent wall, his face contorted in silent horror.
Just like a Tuesday morning in Mumbai. Keep your hands steady. He's just another patient.
Maria inserted the retractors and spread the incision wide. The iridescent sheen of Dravani internal tissues gleamed under the surgical lamp.
She has opened the sacred vessel. The king's soul is escaping. The ancestors will curse us all.
But Maria didn't hesitate. The surgery had begun, and there was no room for doubt now. Then the monitors screamed. The king's vitals plummeted, pressure dropping, pulse fading to nothing.
You're killing him. Guards, stop her now.
Varric lunged toward the sterile field, but 2 royal guards caught his arms and held him back.
Don't stop. Clamps. I need the small retractor.
Her hands didn't tremble. She deepened the incision, exposing the calcified wall that choked the artery. There it was, a jagged bone-like growth wrapped around the vessel, the source of the king's slow death for months.
You'll answer to the ancestors for this. His soul will wander forever.
Pressure check. What's his reading? Don't lose focus.
The monitors showed a flicker, the heart still fighting. Maria's gaze never left the blockage. She could see it clearly now. The mass was sharp-edged and dangerously fragile. One wrong move would tear the vessel and end everything. She picked up the laser cautery pen and brought its red beam to the edge of the mass.
Find the plane. Separate the growth from the arterial wall without nicking it.
You are cutting into his heart. The sacrilege. You'll kill him.
The laser sliced through the mass with a hiss. Dark blood welled, then stopped as she sealed the vessel. The monitors flickered. The pressure rose. The heart, freed, began to beat stronger.
Almost. Careful. Now lift it out.
The mass came free in one piece. She dropped it onto the tray with a wet clank.
It's out. The desecration is done, but the monitors are rising. How?
The vitals stabilized. The king's body was fighting back for the first time in days. The blockage was gone, but the surgery wasn't over. Maria reached for the closure tools. Maria guided the tissue sealant along the incision line. The wound sealed into a thin, neat line.
A clean closure, just like 1,000 times before.
The blue light of the sealant played across her focused eyes. She smoothed the edge with a gloved finger. She stepped back from the table. The wound was just a subtle line now. She pulled off her gloves and mask. Her face was damp, but her eyes held a quiet certainty. In the observation room, High Physician Varick stared at the closed wound. No gaping horror, only a thin scar.
So little, so neat. The body is closed, but the soul, is it still there?
The king's chest rose and fell in steady rhythm. The monitors sang a calm song. Varick's hands fell from the glass. He didn't know what to feel. A Dravani nurse whispered to a colleague, "The king lives," and he was cut open. The king's eyes fluttered open. His vision blurred, then focused on the high ceiling of the operating theater.
No crushing weight. The pressure is gone. I can breathe.
Your Majesty, the operation was successful. You need to rest, but you are going to live.
Varick pushed past the guards, his ceremonial robes rustling, and pressed a diagnostic scanner to the king's chest.
The internal pressure, it's normalized. The blockage is gone. His vitals are stronger than they've been in weeks. But at what cost? The sacred seal is broken. The ancestors will demand payment for this defilement. You cut into a sacred vessel. The king lives, but his soul is now forfeit. This is not healing, it's spiritual murder.
His soul was leaving his body when I arrived. I restored his life. If your ancestors take offense at that, they can speak to me directly.
You saved his body and damned his eternity. The College of Physicians will never sanction this barbarism.
Maria looked at the king, who had closed his eyes again, breathing peacefully. She had done her job. The battle for acceptance was just beginning. As Maria left the king's recovery room, a young physician fell into step beside her. His robes were simpler, his eyes full of questions.
Dr. Varma, I watched the procedure. You cut into him and he lived. How is that possible?
It's called a valve calcification. On Earth, we fix it with a surgery that takes 40 minutes. I've done it hundreds of times.
Hundreds? So this wasn't some miracle, just a procedure?
Just a procedure. The blockage was simple. Your doctors could have saved him if they'd been willing to open the chest.
But we aren't willing. We let people die instead. What kind of healing is that?
Maria pulled up a hologram, comparing a human heart and a Dravani heart. The similarities were undeniable.
You've shown this to the High Physician. He still condemns it.
He sees only sacrilege. But you see something else. Why did you follow me?
Because nothing I was taught explains what I saw today. I want to understand.
The taboo against cutting didn't start as medicine. It came from the sacred scrolls of eons, the belief that the body is a temporary vessel for the spirit.
So we let people die because of a religious poem. That's not medicine.
It wasn't always a death sentence. The first healers treated wounds, drained infections, but over centuries the priesthood made the body inviolable. Any cut became heresy.
Millions dead. All because someone decided the soul is too fragile to survive a scalpel. And I believed it.
Look at this. The blockage that killed the king was just a hardened piece of tissue. A child could have removed it, if we were allowed. I can teach you how to do this. The incision, the removal, the closure. It takes 3 weeks, but it means picking up this blade and breaking your world's oldest law.
And if I do, what happens to me? To my family? To my family?
The college will excommunicate you. You'll lose your position, your honor, maybe your freedom. I won't lie to you, the cost is everything.
Everything I've ever known says this is wrong, but I watched him die and come back. How can I turn away now?
She left the offer hanging in the sterile air. No one else spoke. The silence was its own answer. The next morning, Torek appeared at the training lab, his eyes hollow but determined.
I can't unsee what you did. If I don't learn this, every death from a treatable blockage will be on my conscience.
He reached for the scalpel on the synthetic body. his hand trembling but his grip firm.
Torek, have you lost your mind? I'll have you stripped of your robes for even touching that defiler's tool.
Strip me, then. I'd rather be a heretic who saves lives than a priest who performs funerals.
Varek's face went pale. This was open rebellion against 1,000 years of doctrine.
Varric, you saw the king live. If your doctrine can't explain that, it's not truth, it's tradition. Torek, first lesson, hold the scalpel like this.
My hand is shaking. But these hands might one day cut open a living chest and pull out death.
Maria guided his fingers on the synthetic tissue, making a clean incision into the practice body. For the first time in Dravani history, one of their own had made a surgical cut. The taboo had its first crack. Varric summoned the College of Physicians to revoke Torek's license before the heresy could spread.
Your Majesty, this alien has corrupted one of our own. Sanction this training and our sacred doctrine dies.
Dr. Varma saved my life. Her method is not heresy, it is a cure. I will not punish Torek for learning to heal.
Then let him prove it on a commoner. If the patient dies, the alien's blade is condemned. If he lives, I will be silent.
The king nodded slowly, his 4 arms resting on the throne. A test was set.
This is the moment. 3 weeks of training are enough. You are ready, but only if you believe it.
A living patient, not a simulation. If I fail, I destroy any hope for this to take root.
The commoner was wheeled in, a miner with the same calcification, given days to live. The court assembled to watch.
I'll be right behind you. Keep your hands steady.
For the second time in history, an operating theater fell silent. But this time, the blade was in Dravani hands.
Just like we practiced. Find the plane, separate the growth, scalpel.
The blade touched the miner's blue-gray skin. A dark line appeared, steady and clean. Torek's hand was rock solid. The vital monitors wavered for a heartbeat, then settled. The miner's body was not rejecting the cut.
The commoner's heart still beats. His soul hasn't fled. Perhaps the seal is not what I thought.
You are doing fine. Now retract and find the mass. It'll be wrapped around the vessel, just like the king's.
There it is. The same jagged bone I saw on the king. I can remove it.
He cut the mass free with the laser pen, each movement precise, just as he'd done 100 times on synthetic flesh. The miner's vitals surged. The blockage was out. For the first time, a Dravani had removed death from a living chest. When Torek stepped back, the wound was a neat line. The first Dravani surgeon had saved a life. The taboo would never be whole again. The court convened in the throne room, the air thick with whispered arguments.
She cut open the sacred vessel of our king. She trained an apostate. If she goes unpunished, our ancestors will turn their backs on us forever.
She taught me to save a life. The miner would be dead without her method. Where is the crime in that?
Some physicians nodded at Torek. Others glared. The college was splitting down the middle.
I am alive because she cut me. I will not condemn a cure.
Then strip me of my rank, your majesty, for I cannot serve a court that embraces this desecration.
I didn't come for titles or medals. I came because a patient was dying. I did what I was trained to do.
The king raised a trembling hand. The gesture silenced the whispers.
This matter will be decided after I have rested. No action against Dr. Varma until then.
The chamber fell into tense silence. Maria's fate hung undecided in the stale air. 3 days later, the king summoned Maria to his recovery chamber.
Dr. Varma, I wish to offer you a position, head of a new surgical academy. Your knowledge could revolutionize our medicine.
Your Majesty, I am deeply honored. But I am a surgeon, not a dean. My patients in Mumbai are waiting.
You would choose a simple clinic over a royal school?
A full schedule and steady hands. That's my life. Torek is ready to lead here. He's the future I was sent to spark.
Later, in the quiet corridor, Maria pressed a data chip into Torek's palm.
Every procedure, every video, every complication I know. Train them. Don't let the old guard bury this again.
I'll try, but without you, what if they refuse to listen?
You've already proven it works. They can't argue with a live patient. Keep cutting, Torek.
She packed her instruments. The hospital in Mumbai had a surgery scheduled for Tuesday. At the Dravani spaceport, a sleek Terran shuttle waited on the pad. Maria walked toward it, her case packed.
She leaves untouched. The heresy spreads, and the court bows to a cutter of flesh. What have I defended?
I wish you could stay. I don't know if I am ready.
You've already saved a life. Train others. The data chip has everything. You'll do fine.
I'll honor your teaching. I'll build a school where the blade is a tool, not a sin.
She turned and walked up the shuttle ramp, not looking back. At the top, she paused, turned, and gave a small wave. Torek raised his hand, fingers spread, from a distant balcony. Varric watched the wave and closed his eyes. The Terran shuttle rose on a column of white fire and vanished into the night. Torek stood alone, the data chip warm in his palm. The future of Dravani medicine was now his to shape. As the shuttle's light faded, a heavy footstep sounded behind Torek. High Physician Varric emerged from the shadows.
She defiled our king and fled before judgment. You think her little chip will undo 1,000 years of sacred law? You are a foolish child playing with a desecrator's knife. The college will blacklist you. You'll die a heretic.
She didn't defile anything. She saved 2 lives and taught me to save more. If that's heresy, then your sacred law is a death sentence. Dr. Varma showed us that the body can be healed by opening it. I am not afraid of your college anymore.
Varric's mouth opened, but no sound came. He had expected fear, not conviction.
Go back to your scrolls, High Physician. I have patience to learn how to cut for.
Varric stood frozen, the old doctrine crumbling inside him like dry parchment.
Keep cutting. She said that, and I will. For every patient they would have let die.
The data chip pulsed once in his grip, a quiet promise from a surgeon in Mumbai. Weeks later, at Bombay General, Dr. Varma stepped out of a routine operation and saw a pending message on her console. It was from Torek. She tapped the icon, and a holographic recording filled her office.
Dr. Varma, 3 more surgeries this week, all successful. The calcification removal is becoming our most common procedure. I have 2 junior physicians in training now. They're terrified, but they're learning. The king sends his blessing.
3 more patients alive. 2 new surgeons shaking at the scalpel. It's really happening.
She watched the recording a second time, her tired eyes creased at the corners. Then she closed the message, picked up her tablet, and walked to her next patient. In the pediatric ward, a 4-year-old with a similar blockage lay waiting. Same operation, different galaxy.
You are going to be fine. Just a little sleep, and then you can run again.
She didn't think of Dravani kings or broken taboos, only of the small scar she would leave, and the heartbeat she would save. On the Dravani homeworld, the hidden surgical wing had a name now, etched in stone and light. The Dravani Surgical Institute. Inside, Torek led a full team of Dravani surgeons through a valve calcification removal, his hands steady, his voice calm.
Remember, the mass is just hardened tissue. Find the plane, cut with confidence. You've all trained for this.
A junior surgeon took the laser pen. His hand trembled, then steadied, and the blockage came free. In the throne room, High Physician Varric stood before the recovering king for the last time.
I can no longer serve. The world I knew has been cut open and healed. I cannot follow it.
He removed his ceremonial robes and walked out, a man bent under the weight of a crumbling doctrine. Outside, a sign proclaimed the new order. The scrolls of eons were now archived, no longer enforced.
This is what healing looks like. A small scar and a long life. Dr. Varma taught us that.
The revolution was not a war, but 1,000 steady cuts, and now a galaxy knew that a surgeon from Mumbai had taught them to cut. At the dedication of the Dravani Surgical Institute, Torek spoke the blunt truth.
The king's condition, a calcified mass, was a simple blockage human medicine solved centuries ago. Our taboo against cutting cost millions of lives. We let them die rather than open a chest.
The holographic scan showed the same mass now removed 20 times a week.
What was once desecration is now routine, because one surgeon from Mumbai taught us to cut.
In Mumbai, Dr. Varma watched the broadcast. Her eyes glistened, but her hands remained steady. The Dravani medical text had been revised. The old doctrine was archived. The procedure she brought, a 40-minute surgery, was now mandatory training. Millions would live who would have died, all because a king once allowed a stranger to cut him. The sacred seal was broken, and in its place 1,000,000 Dravani hearts beat strong. In her office, Dr. Varma closed the broadcast window and sat for a moment in the silence.
A calcified mass. A 40-minute fix. It changed a culture. All I did was not tremble.
She picked up her tablet. 3 surgeries, a consult, and a pediatric case, all before nightfall. She walked the familiar corridor to the operating theater, the same path she'd worn for decades. At the scrub sink, she washed her hands and pulled on sterile gloves. The scalpel waited. The surgical lamp clicked on, its cone of light isolating the instrument tray. The blade glinted.
1,000,000 Dravani lives. And it started with the same blade on a different chest.
She picked up the scalpel. Her hands were steady. They always were.
No monuments, no medals. Just the quiet truth that healing sometimes needs a sharp edge.
She turned to the monitor where her patient's vitals blinked. The day was full. There was work to do. In the Dravani capital, minutes before his next surgery, Torek dictated a final message.
Dr. Varma, thank you for showing us that healing sometimes requires breaking old rules. We will never forget.
The message arrived on Maria's tablet as she prepped for the pediatric case.
They're doing it on their own now. No more help from me. Perfect. Keep cutting.
She sent the reply and turned to the child waiting on the bed, a 4-year-old with the same ancient killer.
Ready to feel better? Just a little sleep, and you can run again.
The scalpel touched the child's skin, leaving a line as clean as 1,000 before it. Far away in the Dravani Surgical Institute, another batch of young surgeons picked up their blades for the first time. The blade had crossed light years and broken a taboo, but in her hands it was just a tool for a Tuesday. The Dravani king lived another 40 years, long enough to see the first generation of homegrown surgeons perform the procedure that saved him. The sacred scrolls of eons were sealed in a climate-controlled archive. The doctrine of bodily inviolacy officially repealed. Torek's Dravani Surgical Institute trained over 500 surgeons in its first decade, each one a heretic turned into a healer. But Maria Varma never stood on a pedestal or gave a speech about her historic achievement. She returned to Mumbai, to her own hospital, her own schedule, her own list of patients who needed her more than any royal accolade. On a Tuesday, she would pick up the scalpel and do what she had done 1,000 times before, make the incision. The galaxy had changed. A culture had been reformed, but her work, opening a chest and pulling out death, had not. Because saving lives with steady hands and a sharp blade is simply what surgeons do, no matter the world. Her hands, steady as ever, guided the blade. The surgical lamp cast its familiar cone. Another life, another scar.
Just another Tuesday.